12th of February 25. I'm just looking at this story about Britain changing as fast as possible as Labour wish, the left wish. They want us to be the natives to be a minority as soon as possible, and they want us to be a global south majority mainly, plus East Europe and the second world as well. So yeah, and China, which is about to become the biggest economy. Yeah, and this one is Stella Creasy's using the idea of Paddington as how good immigrants can be, Paddington Bear. And it turns out that she's actually working in the Home Office or something. She's something to do with it. But it was a terrible start to the day because there was two stories. There was one, well, this is yesterday in fact, Albanian migrant allowed to stay in Britain because his son doesn't like foreign chicken nuggets. And that was to do with the European Court of Human Rights, Article 8. And then there was this story this morning, Starmer faces demands to act on crazy court ruling that Gaza refugee family must be allowed into Britain to live with brother they hadn't seen for 17 years after applying through the Ukraine settlement scheme, which was stopped last year. I think they tried to get in on January 24. I think it was stopped in February 24. I don't know, but it's for Ukrainians, And again, they're claiming it through Article 8 of the European Court of Human Rights. But a lot of people like Nigel Farage will say you need to do away with ECHR, but you need to do away with the 1951 Refugee Convention, which Germany is looking to, quote, alter, because that was done for the Second World War, where you were maybe expected to take in the people from your neighbour, the natives from your neighbouring country, It wasn't to take in people from halfway around the world, everywhere. And because what's happening is Labour and the left seem to want to make Britain a new majority with new women's rights and LGBT plus rights, because they're not bothered about what these people think of this. And to me, it's maybe a bit naive or assumptive of me, but it looks like we're taking the very worst of women's rights and LGBT plus rights, and in various ways it's women that seem to be having a hard time, whether it's FGM or acid attacks, or the left would say that there's no connection between newcomers and all these traditions, so that's what they're saying to native females. If you're worried about it, the only thing you can do at the moment is vote reform as a protest vote. They're very poor on this subject, but they're an Overton window shift, a protest vote. I would prefer they were all paper candidates rather than the way they're going, where they're going to be fully fleshed out candidates with views across the whole spectrum of things, like tax and stuff. I would prefer paper candidates, just as an Overton window shift, but that's all we've got. They've got the momentum at the moment, so just need to go along with them until other parties come along. I don't believe in the party system anyway. I think you should be voting issues. There should be a single issue party actually at the moment on this. So anyway, she's saying Paddington Bear, but the thing, and she's saying that, and remember how lovely it was when Paddington Bear met the Queen. But the thing is, well, for a start, Paddington's not real. Are there bears in Peru? I don't know, but Paddington is very, very nice. And he's had tea with the Queen, but I'm guessing in a referendum he wouldn't vote the Queen out when she was alive, or the royal family. I mean, the royal family's message at the moment is, to natives is, don't be R-word. You must just keep voting Labour and Tory to become a native minority, so that we can become a global south majority and East Europe. Ignore the women's rights and LGBT plus rights that they have in those countries. It's going to be great. And personally, I think once they've got the chance, there'll be a referendum in the royal family and they'll get voted out basically. And the main reason will be because they're too W, as that lady said, that lady who has no plan wants to move to a people of colour country, as far as I know, but she says that the royal family were too white, the British lady who said that. Yeah, so whenever there's a chance for the royal family to be voted out, I think the newcomers only vote out on our grounds, and they're going to start saying that the royal family look a bit supreme to them, if they're not saying that already. Yeah, so Stella Creasy, I mean, she's terrible. She's everything that's wrong with privilege, because I don't think these ladies who look like her in Britain realise that the newcomers regard her as the ultimate supreme person, because there's a thing made for, they're expected to get things now as if they're hard done by, jobs and stuff. Whereas, and I'm guessing she doesn't look anything like the majority of her constituents now, and our constituents are probably wondering, why haven't we got someone that we identify with? Oh. So here she's saying, you know why. So if you have your very expensive application rejected, you won't know why, etc., etc. Yeah, because apparently, I mean, today started very badly with, we had this Gazian refugee. Her family of 6 were getting citizenship to be again with her brother she hasn't seen for 17 years, who'd already been given citizenship by LabCon on our behalf. We don't know why. So it started very badly in that, and also, what was the other thing? There was some other story. But then it turns out that the government have secretly made it a rule since Monday that to work with one of my neighbours, who is a young man who fled Syria, who is now making a life here. He has just got his degree, is contributing to our society, and has now got British citizenship. But we don't know his views on women's rights and LGBTQ plus rights. She's not bothered about that. But yeah, we heard that since Monday, apparently anyone who comes into the country illegally, whether from a dinghy, so people keep mistakenly calling them boats, dinghy, or any vehicle, are going to be denied the right to become a citizen. I don't know, this is probably smoke and mirrors from Keir, because I think Keir's a smoke and mirrors on this, because he was a human rights lawyer, and he was the one that we were all scared of, basically, to be in a king's new clothes situation about this. But now he seems to have done a big turn. But the thing is, he's no mate's Keir, I'm believing. I'm guessing his cabinet is against what he's just done, if this is true, and I'm guessing all his MPs are against it. There's no Star Marista thingy, so I'm guessing he's getting nobody who's supporting him on his new hardline thing on this, and I'm guessing his own side will dump him, basically. His own MPs will dump him because he's too soft in this. He's wanted to take the open borders from round about the 98% mark to around about 93%, and he's using smoke and mirrors probably for this. Smoke and mirrors, probably it would still be 98% anyway, but I'm guessing because he even wants to take it down to say 93% open border, porous border, the Labour MPs will dump him basically on his cabinet, because they're wanting to send out a message that natives must become a minority as soon as possible. Global South and East Europeans are the answer to a fantastic country. Plus, we're going to be the best in women's rights and LGBTQ+, etc., and stability. So this is her talking about this Home Office change. The Home Office's updated good character guidance now states that anyone who entered the UK illegally, such as on a small boat, will normally have a citizenship application refused. And this is since Monday, and you'd think Keir would be saying this big time. I mean, I didn't hear anybody saying anything about it. You'd think Keir was saying good news good news to those who have switched from Labour to Reform. But no, it seems that nobody said anything. The Home Office updated good character guidance now states that anyone who entered the UK illegally will normally have a citizenship application refused. So anyone coming in illegal anyway, travel visa, I think that's how the majority would probably come in, travel visa or a student visa, and they hang around, get a job, stacking shelves in Tesco or whatever, or Deliveroo. We don't know their views on women's rights and LGQB plus or whatever. Nobody cares, it seems. It's not part of the citizenship test or anything. Meanwhile in Dubai, if you go there to work, I think you've got zero chance of citizenship basically. You're going to be temporary all the time. And Singapore as well, I think. But Britain, if you can hang around for 5 years, you're almost definitely going to become a citizen. Labour and Tories will see to that. They'll call you the R word if you start asking questions. So this is amazing if they've brought this in, you know. Let's see how it works in progress. Are they going to actually enforce it? Or is it some sort of loophole that Keir's going to ignore? This is regardless of the time that has passed since the illegal entry took place, according to changes made on Monday. I mean, he should have been announcing this from the rooftop of the Houses of Parliament. People that are switching to Reform will be going, oh, that's quite good, but still vote Reform anyway. You can't trust these people who have led over the last 75 years. The updated guidance also makes specific reference to those making a dangerous journey, such as arriving in Britain on a small boat or by hiding in a vehicle. The changes were made as the government sought to repeal laws passed by the previous Tory administration as part of efforts to send China migrants to Rwanda. But ministers are facing a backlash and stand accused of quietly blocking thousands of refugees who have successfully applied for asylum from claiming UK citizenship. So this is us just hearing about it today. It's Wednesday today, so why aren't they announcing this from the rooftop? I mean there's two groups, I suppose. You've got native Brits and then you've got everyone else. That's how I think Labour or Keir's viewing it, you know. Ms Creasy suggested Home Office changes would send the wrong message about integration in British society for successful asylum applicants. I'm guessing if her constituency is concentrated enough, she's no chance of winning her seat next time, and she'll lose it to somebody from a new identity party. That's what I'm thinking. A man, probably. Let us be clear about what we're talking about here. This is citizenship. This is not granting people asylum, she added. So they're granting them asylum, but not citizenship. Is that right? 2/3 of the people who have come through irregular means and in small boats have been granted asylum because they have a well-founded fear of persecution. But this change is not about that. It is about when people are here and they have come to this country and they are staying here. For example, I have Afghan interpreters who came in that irregular route because the previous government fundamentally failed to take them to safety, and so they came via that route. When they have made a life here, this change means it is unlikely they will ever be able to get citizenship, which is a completely different but important element of the message that we send about integration. I mean, all you can do if you're in her constituency, you could write and tell her you're not happy with what she's saying, you think the opposite, and you'll vote Reform next time. The only other things you can do is join YouGov and Opinion, vote Reform and them things. When they ask you about politics, what 3 things you're worried about, you're only worried about this one thing, forget all the other things. Do government petitions maybe, start government petitions, because they're not bothered about anything apart from being elected. They're really not bothered about anything else. And to me, they're mad on this situation. They think it's going to be a utopia, you know, but if you think it's going to be a utopia, no police are going to come chopping at your door and that, you know. Whereas you can predict everything else you can predict, just by using your logic and common sense, but not on this subject, I would say. This is not about whether we offer these people refuge. These people are people who can stay here already. This is about people who are here, who are part of our communities. I think this is an interesting one. She claimed Olympic heroes for Mo Farah, that's not his real name, who was illegally trafficked to Britain, would also have been impacted by the new rules. I mean, it's not two British natives. Do they have a connection with Mo Farah? Not his real name. Was he nice to real Mo Farah, who didn't get to come because his mum didn't want him to go? I think it was a bus driver in London who said send somebody over because he'd already got citizenship, and I think he ended up moving over when he became a pensioner back to Somalia. Pension probably means he's getting like 3 or 4 times the value over there, probably 10 times. So I don't think Mo Farah really is a good example. Of course, after he retired from running, he used to be called Mohammed Farah. Mohammed. I think his real name's Mohammed something, not Mo even. Oh no, maybe it was. He said he used to be known as Mohammed, but then he said later, I want to be known as my real name, because that's not his real name. I have a great faith in the British public. They are compassionate, decent people. Vote reform, folks, if you care about women's rights and LGBTQ+, in my opinion. After all, we are also a nation that takes great pride in the apocryphal story of Paddington. Forget it. There are outdated rules that can prevent those arriving illegally from gaining citizenship. This guidance further strengthens measures to make it clear that anyone who enters the UK illegally, including small boat arrivals, faces having a British citizenship application refused. So I don't know why Keir kept this quiet, I'm guessing he's in case he upsets his MPs. And I don't know who actually votes for him, actually. I mean, they're stable at the moment, 25%. I have no idea who's staying with them. Apparently, more homeowners now vote for him than people in social housing, and also less working class now vote for him rather than ones who don't consider themselves working class. I think they're actually a middle class party now, basically. Buffered middle class, I would call them, rather than the working class. I think the working class are down to about 39% or something in a poll. And stats for left is fantastic for these sort of data and stuff. This is new today. Keir Starmer says he will block Palestinian refugees from settling in Britain after court ruling opened the door to Palestinians claiming asylum. Starmer said it should be Parliament that makes the rules on immigration. So that's fantastic. I think his MPs will probably try and boot him out because of it. I don't know who's supporting him. His support's at 25%. I don't know who. Mostly middle class, it seems. I don't know, but yeah. So this was the thing. This Palestinian family were. I'm guessing they're already British. They'd probably get in on this Ukraine thing, or it's gone to a second tribunal or something, and that said it should stay. I mean, Sam Bidwell was saying they should do away with the tribunal system, and I totally agree. I mean, who decides? Does Parliament decide? The Home Office, or subjective lawyers? All it takes is one lawyer out of 1,000. One judge out of 1,000 to say, no, you've got to view the law this way, and that's it. That's silly, basically. And so here's another thing saying Reform are tied with Labour, 25%. So that's a bit upsetting because I thought Reform would be way up at 30% by now. This is more in Common who are doing this one. Labour 25%, Reform 25%, both of them up 1. Tories down 2. I'm surprised at Tories. But that means that the right, we've always been a left country, even when Margaret Thatcher, I think her peak was 43%. At that time you only had one right party really, others were left. So we've always been left, but now with the Reform and Tories it's getting to like 48%, so we're almost over the 50% right wing for the first time, I don't know, 70 years, 75. I mean, Ali was Labour, so because you've always had Labour, Lib Dem, SNP, Green, etc. Lib Dem and Green votes are still holding up. I don't know why. Stats for Left is an excellent site to follow. And so here's the other story. Labour is denying citizenship to any refugees or asylum seekers who arrive by small boat. The policy means anyone who has migrated to the UK through irregular means can never claim citizenship. Fantastic, if that's the case. It's fantastic. Say, well done, Keir. Your MPs are going to kick you out, and all native lefties need to vote reform as an Overton window shift, even though they're terrible on this subject. So, yeah, there's quite a few good stories coming through. I thought this would happen anyway, because all MPs bother about is being voted in. They're not bothered about anything else. Nothing else will work for them. They feel that natives becoming a minority and becoming a global south and East Europe majority, we're going to be a utopia, you know, and we don't need this LGBTQT plus or women's rights questions in the citizenship test, and also the people coming, they're going to be excellent in LGBTQT plus and women's rights. They're going to fit either Keir's view or Nicola Sturgeon or even further left. This is a chicken nuggets, Tony. So I don't know what's going to happen really, you know. At the moment, open borders it's around about 98%. It looks like Keir's going to take it down to about 93% open border. But there may be smoke and mirrors, and there may be really 98%. Starmer faces demands to act on crazy court ruling that Gaza refugee family must be allowed into Britain to live with brother they hadn't seen for 17 years after applying through the Ukraine settlement scheme. I mean, that shows you how nice the native Brits are. And also it shows you that Keir's always been there to support Biden on what's happening to Gaza, and so has probably Trump as well. We've nothing to, we're not criticising Trump or whatever, and yet this Gaza family want to live in Britain. And the question's got to be, what's wrong with people of colour countries? What are their feelings about that? It seems like they don't want to live. Why do they want to live in Britain where Keir's been so supportive of Israel? Yeah, these sort of questions. Why does her brother want to live in Britain? How do they feel about people of colour countries or East Europe? I did see that there was in Wales or something, there was a Nigerian who had got to become British through the Ukraine citizenship thing. He'd went to Ukraine for some reason, maybe for a leapfrog reason. And then when Ukraine got invaded by Russia, he moved to Britain under the Ukraine resettlement thing. He didn't move back to Nigeria, and the Tories made him a British citizen on our behalf. I just saw that story today, you know. So the mother, father, 4 children, so 6 of them, I'm guessing they're already here, had applied to the Ukraine family scheme asking to join their brother already living in the UK, whom they had not seen in person for 17 years. So it was initially rejected by the Home Office, but immigration judges have now overturned that, or one has, on the basis that human rights have been breached. So this is the sort of thing that we've got. They would not have counted as a unit before the latest flare-up of conflict in Gaza. And this is to do with Article 8 of the European Court of Human Rights. But I'd say the 1951 Refugee Convention needs to be scrapped, really. I mean, I think Japan takes in about 1,000 asylum seekers a year or something like that. Maybe even less than that. And the Tory leader asked to hear about this, and this is not what the scheme was designed to do. This decision is completely wrong. And Keir said the Home Office is looking at the legal loophole. I do not agree with the decision. It should be Parliament that makes the rules, he said. The decision came despite warnings by Home Office lawyers that the case could open the floodgates to the admission of all those in conflict zones with family in the UK. The family said the Ukraine family scheme best fit their circumstances after their home in Gaza had been destroyed in an airstrike, and they were facing daily threats to their lives from further attacks in the refugee camp where they were living. And I'm guessing they would like to go to America as well. But Britain will do, but they would like to go to America, the country that's funding Israel to bomb them to smithereens and to ethnically cleanse them, basically. The scheme allowed Ukrainians and their family members to find refuge in Britain if they have a relative who is either a UK national or settled in the UK. It closed last February, nearly 2 years after it was set up in March 22. The family argued that their application, which was submitted in January 24, so they probably knew it was closing and they just thought, we'll just give it a go, should be granted despite clashing with the scheme rules because their situation was so compelling and compassionate. An immigration tribunal nationally refused to claim. And by the way, Keir said to the Tories, said to Kemi in Prime Minister's question, this all happened under your watch, and he's quite right. The family have got in under his watch. They've been to a tribunal. Sandbad was there. She should do away with tribunals on this issue. The judge ruled that it should be up to Parliament to decide which countries should benefit from resettlement schemes. But this decision was overturned by Judge Hugo Norton-Taylor at a higher level tribunal. And his father's known to be a very lefty activist, and he's made a few subjective judgments in the past, which I think natives might open an eye to if they, there was one where I think the guy murdered his Afghan wife. He was Afghan as well. They both came to Britain. He came to Britain under he said he was bisexual, I think it was, and that's why he shouldn't be deported either or something, I don't know, but I think he got to stay and continue to be British under the Tories, or the Labour it was back then. He granted the Palestinians the right to live in the UK with their brother under Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights, which outlines the right to a family life. Judge Norton-Taylor said that the family's extreme and life-threatening situation was outweighing the public interest of rules regulating the entry to the UK. So Miss Badenoch said, and she's an anchor baby herself, Miss Badenoch. The Conservative government established the Ukraine family scheme, and in total over 200k Ukrainians, mostly women, children and elderly, have found sanctuary in the UK from Putin's war. However, a family of 6 from Gaza have applied to live in Britain using this scheme, and a judge has now ruled in their favour. So we've got an anchor baby Tory leader asking a question. The PM replied, I do not agree with the decision. She's right. It's the wrong decision. She hasn't quite done her homework because the decision in question was taken under the last government according to the legal framework for the last government. So that's correct, yeah, totally. But let me be clear. It should be Parliament that makes the rules on immigration. It should be the government that makes the policy. That is a principle, and the Home Secretary is already looking at a legal loophole which we need to close in this particular case, and that's David Lammy, who probably might someday topple Keir, be part of the group that topples Keir because of this subject. Miss Badenoch persisted, given this crazy decision and so many others, new legislation is needed to clarify the right to a family life in Article 8. I'm not talking about what he just said. I know Labour MPs don't understand much of what they're saying, but the Prime Minister literally wrote a book on the European Convention on Human Rights, so that's a good point. This is a situation where we need to put our national interest before the ECHR. Does he agree that we should legislate even if lawyers warn that this might be incompatible with human rights law? So Keir said she complains about scripted answers in question. Her script doesn't allow her to listen to the answer. She asked me if we're going to change the law and close a loophole in question 1. I said yes. She asked me again in question 2 and I said yes. She asked me again in question 3. Yes. It's still yes. The Home Office said that the ruling was not equivalent to a resettlement scheme for people from Gaza and that it would contest similar claims to that of the Palestinian family of 6 in the future. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philip said this case illustrated that changes to human rights laws were necessary so that decisions on who could live in the UK are up to the Parliament and not individual judges. He criticised the alarming and dangerous ruling, telling the Telegraph that it provides blah 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 blah. Anyway, the point is, if you're worried about this, it looks like, it's pretty certain that British natives are going to become a minority. We're going to become a majority of countries that seem to have poor track records on women's rights and LGBTQT+, under the premise they're going to have take on the same views as Yvette Cooper, Nicola Sturgeon, etc. on these things. If you don't think that and you worry about it, you need to vote reform any chance you get. Do YouGov and vote reform. If there's any businesses and services you think are damaging the country, you don't need to use them, and you could do government petitions, vote reform at council by-elections, etc. as a protest vote. They're not very good on this subject, but it's all we've got. Rupert Lowe is pretty good speaking about this. He does speak right about this. Okay, that's it for now.